on this edition of Lifeguard.
Mission Beach, Rescue West, bump it up to coastline.
The rip current at Mission Beach puts lifeguard training to the test.
They're just scared beyond belief, and they're in danger, and they're trying as much as they can to help themselves, yet they can't.
And
further information was that she had taken a full bottle of prescription medication.
I'm with the husband, very concerned.
Full patrol at Dyke Rock area, return negative. There's no one out here.
plus,
Requesting paramedic for a 7-year-old male with a back injury from a fall.
If we don't do everything right, he may never walk again.
this is Mission Beach, California. With over 2.5 million visitors per summer, it is one of America's busiest beaches.
The weather affects us every single day. It just kind of provides us with a theme and a tempo. So we know that when it's sunny and the water's warm and there's surf, we're going to be really busy. We know that when the wind comes and blows here, we're going to get a different type of rescue. So really, the weather plays a huge part in what we're going to actually be required to do for any day.
As the onshore breeze creates a large swell, a massive rip current has just opened up in front of Tower 13. From the main tower, San Diego lifeguard Ashley Marino observes the rip current starting to take shape.
The rip started pulling a little bit, and everyone that was on the edge from the south started to get pulled in. And then everyone that was on the edge at the north started to get pulled in as well.
Connor Robbins, one of 2 lifeguards staffing Tower 13 today, is first to respond.
I kind of saw things progressing quickly, so right then that was kind of a red flag.
Mission 13, second guard in.
Lifeguard Joe Gatos is the only guard left at Tower 13. He spots 2 young children struggling to stay afloat.
And they're just scared beyond belief, and they're in danger, and they're trying as much as they can to help themselves, yet they can't. And they have that fear in their eye.
Joe reaches the first child, but the second is drifting away.
And then he spins around and just looks at me, and he's just climbing the ladder, as we call it, not really swimming very well at all.
Joe approaches the young boy just as he disappears underwater.
He got swept off his feet. What I would do, I just kind of spun around, put my arm around him, and the little cross-chest carry we call it, and I put my arm in his armpit and just start kicking him in.
The Tower 13 rip is just getting stronger, and more people are pulled into its grasp.
We had both of our Tower 13 guards in, and at that time, I requested our Utility 2 vehicle.
Utility 2, can you head to Tower 13? Jet 0, can I get you to head to Tower 13 as well?
Jet 0, copy. En route.
The lifeguards were in their station, and they started passing by running 2 by 2. And maybe you could count 6 to 8 lifeguards.
Lifeguard Marcos Pimentel rushes to assist at Tower 13.
We got on scene. There was about already 4 guards in the water. So I went in, I got 2, brought them in, and I went back and got another one.
The situation continues to escalate. Normal rip current speeds range from 1 to 2 feet per second. This current is twice as strong, challenging even the most experienced swimmers.
I was trying to get over there as fast as I could, but the water kept pulling me back.
This is now a mass rescue. Lifeguard Lieutenant Nick Lerma arrives at Tower 13 and takes over as incident commander.
Big rip current, and all that water's moving this way. We got caught right in the hole, and they can't swim. The first thing that I want to do when I get on scene is organize our existing personnel.
With more than 10 lifeguards in the water, Lerma must make sure that the beaches to the north and south are still protected.
We had South Mission Beach move up. We had Pacific Beach move down just to make sure if something else happened, then we were ready for that.
And at that point, I think we had about 10 rescues. Then the rip current opened up more, and about 10 more people went into the hole.
Requesting a rescue boat. We're having lots of rescues at the moment.
Lifeguard Daryl Pollack arrives on Jet 2 to assist the tower guards.
As I was approaching the scene, I was thinking of all the different situations I could be presented with on scene, from somebody actively struggling for help to a person unconscious in the water.
Mission Beach, Rescue West, can you bump it up to coastline? We have almost all our guards in.
Copy that, Rescue West.
Rescue West, piloted by Rod Messenger, is quickly on scene.
When you're outside the situation, watching from a vessel, we might be able to point something out that they might miss.
With all resources in place, lifeguards can now work together to clear the water.
Started floating across. We didn't realize they were getting pulled out until the lifeguards came behind us.
Nearly 24 swimmers are pulled from the ocean.
Mission Beach Rescue West. Looks like Jet Zero just made contact with the last two.
We are clear at Tower 13.
Obviously, I'm nervous when anything like that goes down, but I also have to have faith in all the guards that are there, that they're going to carry out the rescue.
There is no way to simulate a mass rescue. You cannot train for that. All you can do is train them up to it and then hope that when the time comes, nobody misses a rescue.
There would have been drownings if these guys weren't there and if they weren't vigilant. It takes, the right type of mentality, the right type of attention. It's a lot of talented people.
Meanwhile, 15 miles north at remote Black's Beach, with sheer dramatic cliffs towering over the sand, it's a popular destination for sightseers, hikers, and paragliders. Sergeant John Sandmeyer has been patrolling the coast of San Diego for over 20 years and knows the area well.
Black's is sort of a location that's a wilderness within the urban area. And so it could be a refuge for people to go to get away from it all. We've got these steep 300-foot cliffs, and it offers a high-risk environment.
Sandmeyer is on a routine patrol when he gets an alarming call.
Reporting on North City West, 11:45 threat at Black's Beach. RP stating that the subject's threatening to walk into the water.
Copy. Then all units associated with this missing person call, let's take this to Lifeguard Dispatch 2.
Lifeguards know any suicide call on Black's Beach is of high importance. Sandmeyer rushes down to the beach to meet Torrey Pines State Beach Lifeguard Supervisor Ed Vadroska.
54-year-old female, 5'4".
Okay. By herself.
By herself. Somehow she said she was going to come to Black's and drown herself.
We'll check Sumner right now, and I'll talk to this group down here. There's UCSD divers, so we'll see if they saw anything.
We have a truck at the glider port, and we just came down here.
Okay, we have one of our officers too. He's checking Black Gold Road right now for that vehicle, and then he's going to shift over to glider port as well to see if they can find him there too.
If you want to go up top too.
Well, we were thinking of making a pass on the beach just to see in case he, trickled down on one of the back trails or something.
As state and city lifeguards refine their plan, more disturbing information is called in.
Further information was that she had contacted her husband and she had taken a full bottle of prescription medication with alcohol. She was claiming that she was on the beach somewhere.
And 11:45 is code for attempted suicide. Lifeguards must act quickly.
We get half a dozen suicide calls just in this park alone. The helicopters overhead here looks like they're involved in the search as well.
Meanwhile, Sergeant Sandmeyer is surveying the southern end of Black's Beach.
Hey guys, we're on a lookout for a missing person, 54-year-old female that's heading down this direction. You can call 911 and let a dispatcher know that you want to talk to lifeguards. All right.
We're all kind of working together. We've got the area pretty well blanketed, and if she really is going to show up at the beach here attempting to drown herself, I think we're doing our due diligence to head her off and get her the help that she needs.
Full patrol at Dyke Rock area, return negative. There's no one out here.
A search of the beach and cliffs has been fruitless. Fortunately, the police department has located the husband, who is now with Sandmeyer.
We met with the city lifeguards, and they had the husband on scene, obviously very distraught, and the brother-in-law. So I started an interview with the husband, and we were trying to get a good assessment of the threat and if he really thought that she could actually commit suicide.
While Sandmeyer and Vadroska are with the husband, lifeguards from both San Diego and Torrey Pines State Beach continue to search for any sign of the missing woman.
We've got a search on her phone right now.
Great.
And I'm continually calling it, so.
Yeah, just repeatedly.
Yeah.
2 hours have passed and still no sign of the woman. The husband fears the worst when a call comes through.
Stand by, sir. I'm with her husband right now. We're with contact with San Diego Police. We're all looking for her right now. So, okay. Okay, if you stay right there, we're gonna direct police your way.
Someone's with her. She's had something to drink. She's on a street corner somewhere in Ocean Beach, and the bystander picked up her phone and called.
The victim is barely conscious. Lifeguards have no idea how she ended up 16 miles south. They quickly contact Sergeant Gleason at Ocean Beach.
We have a medical aid at Abbott Cross Muir in Ocean Beach, and it's likely the victim from the earlier call at Black Beach.
Copy. I'll notify PD and I'll respond.
Sergeant Gleason and lifeguard Mike Gilmore quickly head to the scene to verify the call and the status of the missing woman.
So that's the suicide attempt gal from earlier?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, we were told she was a fall.
A fall? This is a trip and fall injury with ETOH on board.
A firm. That was threat of
1145 that she had self-initiated, and we were on
heightened alert and looking all over Torrey Pines for this case.
I'm with the husband, very concerned.
The medics that showed up on scene weren't privy to the knowledge that she was a suicide attempt, but I was able to give them some information to help them in their care and treatment of the patient. They're in the loop now, and it sounds like they're going to take her to UCSD.
Copy that. That put a closure on our end. The husband had some satisfaction that he knew where she was. He could go meet her at the hospital, and basically it was a good ending to an unfortunate situation.
An hour south of Orange County, California, rests the town of La Jolla. This oceanfront village is a playground for both young and old. Its largest beach, La Hoya Shores, is a hotspot for kids looking to cool down.
It's a not so sunny Sunday morning here. We have some unusual weather patterns in this area that a lot of tourists are not quite used to. Because Southern California is very desertous, it's extremely hot inland, and the heat draws the ocean moisture. So while it can be blue skies and 100 degrees inland, the sun has not yet come out here because all this moisture in the air is being sucked inland.
Despite the marine layer and cooler temperature, La Jolla Shores is seeing a big crowd. Supervising the shores today is Lifeguard Sergeant Mike Cranston.
I'm a sergeant here for the Lifeguard service in San Diego. I've been working for the service for almost 14 years now. Originally, I'm from New Zealand, and I moved over here when I was about 20 years old with a backpack on, and I wanted to have an adventure and see the world. I came in here to Southern California and just fell in love with it. And then once I got hired as a lifeguard, it was my future was written for me.
So if you decide that you want to cease pine, then we can send them over with equipment.
From a young age, I was boogie boarding, surfing, swimming. I was getting in and out of rip currents before I even really knew what they were. And it just became second nature. Eric, it's going to be a lot of low-angle stuff before he gets to the ledge, so you're going to have to feed it out pretty good. Being around this environment was always just completely natural for me. It was pretty apparent to me within a few weeks of working that this is what I wanted to do, and I don't want to have to take my flip-flops off and go work in a regular job. So coming to work here it's not that different from how I grew up and how I've always lived.
The marine layer has refused to burn off, and the temperature is lower than normal. The cool air means less kids in the water and more kids in the park.
I had a walk-up lady that came up to the tower right here and reported to us that her child had fallen off of the jungle gym.
We arrived on scene and there was a child lying on his stomach, not really moving, and that's unusual for a child of that age not to be moving.
Dispatch from 31 Sam for a medical aid. Requesting paramedics for a 7-year-old male with a back pain, possible back injury from a fall at the playground.
He just had a lot of pain, and it was in his back, right up his spine.
How about when I touch it? Does it feel any better or does it still hurt? It still hurts?
The child is lying on his stomach with his head to the side, and eventually we're going to have to right that and put him in a better position to care for the injury. If we don't do everything right, he may never walk again.
We want to get them immobilized as quickly as possible in the event that there was some sort of spinal injury.
We're gonna make sure you don't move around. So what I'm gonna do is I've got this plastic collar and I'm gonna put it on your neck so that you don't move your neck up and down.
He's very upset. He's in pain. It's an important thing to calm the child down.
Is it gonna hurt? Sure isn't. It's not gonna hurt at all. It's just gonna sit around you just like this. And that's what it's going to look like.
We rolled him very carefully in a straight line.
Nice and gently.
We then decide to put the Miller board underneath, which provides a hard surface, and then we package the patient up so they can't move. It's almost like a splint that you would put on a broken arm, only it's something that we do for the back. When the paramedics arrive, we give them what's called the turnover. They then hook the patient up with their equipment and make sure the patient is stabilized, and then once they feel the patient's ready to be taken to the hospital, then we move the patient to their gurney.
He was loaded into the ambulance and they took him off to one of the local hospitals. Once there, the doctors will assess him, and with any luck, he will be walking out of there this evening and they'll be going home to enjoy the rest of their weekend.
On California's state beaches, the tower guards are always watching the water. But there's another group of lifeguards behind the scenes. These are the peace officers. They're a unique cross between a buoy-carrying lifeguard and a gun-carrying police officer. Peace Officer Jeff David has been with Huntington State Beach for 10 years.
So today should be a pretty busy day for us.
42, 1098, 12. It's a 390.
Lifeguard Greg Carter was manning Tower 13 when he saw something out of the ordinary.
Multiple park visitors came up to me and told me that there's a drunk girl in the water just washing around.
Jeff David and lifeguard Marianne Lugermo make first contact.
How come you're wobbling and running around in the surf line there?
Honestly, I'm trying to find my tent.
Your tent?
Well, like, you know, like whatever it's called.
I got a call of a drunken public. Got here, there was a girl, female, rolling in the water. The number one danger is her drowning in the water. That was our first concern. The other one's just hurting herself or hurting somebody else.
Lifeguard Lugermo decides to administer a breathalyzer test.
Go on to this until I say stop. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, go, go. Yeah. Woo! What did you drink before you got here? Because you blew a .25.
Whiskey.
How much whiskey did you have?
About 7 shots.
7 shots of whiskey.
It's a situation where if she was 18, we would just take her to jail and let her sober up. But when they're juveniles, they either have to go to the hospital because it's a medical issue, or we have to release them to the parents.
Jeff, I'm going to try to call the father.
The 17-year-old's father is located on the crowded beach and escorted to the scene.
Your daughter, Tiffany, right? Is in the back of my vehicle right now. Is a .25. This is the deal. We found your father. Now, if you keep cooperating, I'll release you to your father.
We hate to see people like that, to see them at their worst, kind of like that, but we do this for everyone's safety on the beach, including hers.
Located on the east end of Newport Beach's Balboa Peninsula is the Wedge. This world-famous boogie boarding and body surfing spot is known for producing waves in excess of 25 feet. Today, warm weather and perfect conditions at the Wedge have brought hundreds to ride the huge waves. However, like any precious natural resource, sometimes there's not enough to go around.
The Wedge being the spectacle that it is, it draws a huge observer crowd down here. And for the most part, people are wanting to have a nice day, watch the surf, and be excited. Occasionally, tempers run high, and people will get into it with each other.
Get out of here, bro! My way. What are you gonna do, bro? What are you gonna do?
I was on the tower, and initially I broke up the altercation when it just began. The two gentlemen had exited the water and were beginning to fight.
My way,
I just got down here.
Anytime at Wedge, when the surf gets 8 to 10 feet or larger, big egos come out, and when those egos collide into each other, we get fights on the beach and in the water. Both of them are smart enough to know that if they throw a punch at me, that I'm a peacekeeper and that they're going to go to jail for that. That's when it stopped, but then it started back up again on the back of the beach when I told them both to leave. After that small altercation was separated, the two gentlemen found each other on the back of the beach. One of them threw a punch which knocked the other guy to the ground, and he hit his head on a rock on the way down.
While lifeguard Joseph tends to the victim's bleeding head, lifeguard Bob Maripol arrives on scene and quickly radios for additional police support.
5323 requesting PD for surfer altercation behind the Wedge Tower.
When I drove up, there was a guy who was bleeding from his head. He already had a bandage from the tower guard. The tower guard was treating him.
I didn't even touch you, man. You did, homie. Oh, yeah, you did.
My main concern at that point is to make sure there's no more fighting because we don't need anybody else getting hurt, make sure the lifeguards aren't involved.
Hey, officer, that's the guy that attacked me right there.
He had blood trickling down from the top right side of his head, down his face. His nose was bloody. He had blood coming out of his mouth and blood all over the front of his wetsuit.
With Newport Beach police now on scene, the two men involved in the altercation are separated and questioned.
And I didn't hit him, man. Other people hit him. I just was in between the things. I don't know what happened. I was like, do something, bro. You want to, you're arguing all day. Do something, bro. I'm not scared of you. Yeah. You like socked me or did something right here. And I fell on the rocks or something.
People tend to get their adrenaline pumped up and then blood starts flowing and there's only so many waves that come through and it's a very individualized sport. You can't share a wave.
Our primary concern down here is public safety. That's in the water, on the beach, and we do whatever we need to do to make sure that people stay safe.